let's start off kind of your full name, what your role is at Arco Murray.
Yeah, so my name is Jeff Schnoebelen. I'm a project manager at Arco, and I've been with Arco for about 6 years now.
On the technology side, there are folks in the industry that love technology, and there's folks in the construction space that are a little scared about the technology. So on a kind of a scale of one to five, with where do you see yourself, with one being don't get this technology near me, to five being I can't get enough technology to help me out?
I'm definitely a 5. So I've been kind of surrounded by the technology ever since I've started in the industry. I'm what we call an innovation champion at Arco. So we've got a Arco Murray Innovation Group, and I am the sports and entertainment team's expert on all things innovation. So not only am I involved in it, I'm also pushing that and helping our teams get integrated into the new software.
There's 3 things that I've kind of learned in our 11 years of working with general contractors: is time, money, and safety. I don't know of any other tool besides a drone and the drone tech that really can help save in all 3 of those areas, that can help save time, help save money, and can help with safety. Are there examples of like how drones have helped you out with kind of time savings?
As far as the time perspective, I think we see the most benefit in quicker planning and more efficient planning. So being able to use real pictures or real videos or real maps versus just looking at a black and white plan sheet and it's what you are going to build, but it's not out there right now. So Understanding the existing conditions and how you're going to work through those is a huge time saver, and having that plan up front and not waiting until you run into an issue, that's how you save the most time.
You had said at one point in time that you would use drones for something, and I want to say, maybe I'm getting this wrong. I thought you told me there was some huge $600,000 or some huge dollar savings on some project because you would use a map or drones for something with earthwork issues that you guys were dealing with. Can you clarify that?
So we had a client that we were building for. There was a lot of earthwork and site work, a lot of cut fill, a lot of moving dirt. And there was a developer involved who was doing work at the same time that we were. And over the course of this project, which was about 12 months, there was a stockpile that had grown off site. It wasn't on our site, it was on the developer's site. And once we pulled off the job, they had contacted our client and said, hey, there's this giant stockpile that your contractor created. You all have to pay to export this off our site. And that was to the tune of close to $1 million. Really the only kind of evidence we had or anything to go back on other than our word was the monthly drone pictures and maps and all that good stuff that we had. So what we did was, which Drone Deploy made it relatively easy, was create a timeline document of how the dirt was moving, what the quantity of that stockpile was over time. And then we also were able to see in a couple of the pictures which trucks were actually moving that dirt and dumping over there. And we just put together this document and sent it to the developer and the owner. And that was it. We were able to use the quantities of that stockpile to show that, hey, based off of our grading plans, there's no way that this material could have come from us because there's this much material in the stockpile and we only had this much material on our site. So that resulted in a savings for both us and our owner of close to $1 million.
What do you think is causing the adoption to be so slow, or is it not as slow as I'm thinking it is?
I think it is not as slow as you think it is. I think some people will hire a drone company to just go take pictures, and they don't understand that, if you are using the correct software, that you can do so much more with it. If I had the choice, I would do a drone flight every other week on my projects. And then, I think just the awareness for people, like I said, of what softwares are out there to be able to use the information that drones capture to better help the projects and your planning and whatever is useful to you.
Let's say the drone's going to cost you $10,000 to $15,000 a year to come out once a month and do exactly what you want it to do. I know that $10,000 is a cost because someone's got to budget for it, someone's got to pay for it. But at the end of the day, aren't you getting that money back 10 times over because of issues that are identified before they become big problems?
Absolutely. And there's a moment there that happens. It's hopefully it's not that you lost a bunch of money. And if you would have done drone flights, then it would save it for you. But there's also a moment in a planning meeting, for example, where you are able to run a successful meeting because you have the data from the drones. And once that moment happens, then you never go back because you realize how valuable it is. And then, whether you have the budget for it or not, that it's going to pay dividends and it's going to be well worth the however much money you spend on the flights every week or month, and that it's going to pay itself off.
So new tech. So these 360 cameras are becoming big. You guys are starting to use the 360 cameras. What are you kind of most excited about with this 360 camera stuff?
We've been seeing the most benefit. The same thing with the drones is sitting in the trailer in a subcontractor scheduling meeting and being able to say, hey, this wall isn't closed. What's the plan? And the subcontractor saying, oh, no, I closed it the other week. And then you go on the walkthrough and say, this was taken today. It's not closed. And then, outside of that, just being able to walk a building from, an office in another city and explain something to a younger project manager or someone who's not familiar with what you're talking about. The other half of it is with clients where we build multiple prototypes, having that footage of a building that we've built in the past and be able to put that on the screen and explain to a subcontractor, hey, here's what this looks like when it's finished, and then being able to walk through it. That has been extremely beneficial.
So I know you're on the project management side, but I'm kind of curious. So kind of looking from 20,000 feet up and kind of the big picture, how do you see drones and 360 technology? How do you see that kind of helping out Arco to kind of differentiate Arco from all the other GCs out there and help them win more business and keep projects kind of on time and on budget?
So I think it will help us win more work by understanding the existing conditions of certain projects. That'll benefit the estimating side. And then there's also a side of it that benefits the presentation. If you do a proposal presentation, being able to convey to your owner the vision of the project and have them picture it in their head, if you can do that, you will most likely win the project. And using these drones to, whether you take a screenshot of a picture and drop the building model into it, or just sketching things out of how you are going to complete the project, that instills confidence in the owner that you know what you're doing and you have a plan to get it done. As far as how we'll continue to benefit internally is just continuing to have these benefits and these tools at our fingertips and making sure that the PMs know that you have access to this and that this can benefit you greatly, and it being a couple clicks away versus having to go search through pictures and stuff like that.
How soon do you think it's going to be until drones and reality capture, so the 360 cameras, these robot dogs they've got walking around, pretty soon it's going to be drones in the box? how soon do you think it's going to be until this stuff is standard practice on every site?
We should be there now. And I think if you're not using drones on your job site, you are falling behind. In my opinion, it should be a requirement. You will never have someone removing a drone budget from an estimate. It's always in there. We always have the money for it. Even if we don't, we will still spend money on it. And so I think the time is now. If you're not using it, then you're falling behind.